Hello, it's Gabby here for you. Before we jump onto this week's podcast, I just want to let you know about 2 ways that you can work with me. First of all, I do one-to-one coaching and I do that via Zoom, so we can jump on a Zoom call at a time to suit you. The second thing I've got for you is an online coaching course that's 12 modules that you can download straight away now. There will be a link somewhere around these podcast notes. And this is the course that I've designed, and it's got everything in it that I wish I'd have known when I finished cancer treatment and I was lost. So you can download that course now and you can start working towards making this your happiest and healthiest year ever. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello there, it's Gabby here from Confidence After Cancer, and I hope this finds you well. In this week's podcast, I want to be talking about what you can do to create a supportive work environment if you are returning to work after any time off for cancer treatment, or it could be any long-term illness really. And I've got 3 key areas to look at that really can help you turn this from what could be quite a stressful time and a time of worry into something that you can get excited about and something that you can look forward to. I know in my cancer treatment, I mostly worked through my cancer treatment, even when I was having chemo. I only had a couple of weeks off for surgery. That's the way I was. I had a lot of flexible working agreements. So it really worked for me. I know everybody's situation is very different. Some people are not allowed to go into work when they're going through treatment. Some people work all the way through. Some people take a big chunk of time out. There's no right and there's no wrong. And there's no judgment here. But what I'm saying is when you do that, make that decision to go back into the workplace full time or whatever working arrangements you've got, some things to think about before you do that. Some little planning in advance can make that transition a little bit less stressful for you. So I'm going to share with you my 3 main areas. The first one is, this comes up so many times in all areas of life, and that's communication. What can we do to improve communication so that our return to work is easier? The second is about advocating for reasonable adjustments. Well, what does that mean? And the third one is talking about having a network of support around you because you're not on your own. And sometimes we do feel like we're on our own. We feel like nobody understands what we're going through. But there is support and there is help out there that you can ask for. So first of all, communication, and think about, again, take some time out before you return to work to think about the communication that you need to do. You may need to communicate with your colleagues. You certainly need to communicate with your line manager. You may have some supportive HR professionals on work, some people, experts that are there to support you as well. But what you really want to be communicating with them is what your return to work looks like for you, what's going to work for you. And there is nothing wrong with asking for quite an extended period of time for a phased return. There's no medals for coming back and absolutely killing yourself by getting stressed out or by getting overwhelmed. What you really need to think about is your needs and your limitations. It may be that your energy has been depleted, which is quite understandable when you've been through a cancer diagnosis or you've been through some serious illness. You may still be suffering from the shock of the diagnosis. You may be still suffering from the side effects of the treatments that you've been through. And your body takes a long time to recover. And I was really impatient to get back to work and get back to my normal life after treatment finished. But I got some really good advice from my breast cancer nurse when I was going through treatment. And she said, after you finish your last treatment, whatever that is, whether it's surgery, chemo, whatever, after that last day, give yourself 12 months after that before you think about your energy levels returning to what they used to be. And I really, at that time, thought, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know me. I'm determined to get back to my old life. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to throw everything at this. But it did. It took its toll. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's no judgment and there's no prizes for killing yourself. You've really got to take this time to replenish your energy, to nourish and nurture yourself so that when you do go back to work, hopefully if that's what you want to do, if that's what you're choosing to do it in a way that's supportive to you. Work can be such a fulfilling part of our lives. And it's really sad for me to hear a lot of people either taking early retirement or signing off, long-term sick, and sometimes for many years because they don't feel able to return to the workplace. And I don't want that to happen to you. If you're listening to this and you want to go back to work, you need that support around you to make that happen. So first key is communication. And again, with all of these things I'm going to talk about, if you've got any struggles or any challenges or questions with any of it, just ping me a message, reach out to me. I'm here to support you. The second thing I'm going to talk about is advocating for reasonable adjustments if needed. Now, of course, this depends on the sort of work that you're doing, whether it's a physical job, whether it's a mentally draining job, whether it's a job where you're expected to work long hours, whatever it is, whatever those limitations are, think about, can you physically do that? And if you can't, there is nothing wrong with asking for help. And if you're in the UK and you're listening to this, I want you to be aware, you may not be aware, that as the minute you get a cancer diagnosis, you are covered by the Equality Act of 2010, and you are covered by that act for the rest of your life. And what that is saying, that act says, it's equality. It's all about equality. Just because you've had a cancer diagnosis, even if you're fully recovered and fully cured or in remission, for the rest of your life, you are covered by legislation that protects you from being discriminated against because you've been ill or because you've had some time out or because you've asked for reasonable adjustments. The company is not allowed to discriminate or treat you any, less favorably than they do with another colleague that doesn't apply to. I'll put a link again to the legislation around this. It's quite dry. Again, if you want to chat to me about it, it's something I've worked with a few people on, understanding what it means for their individual circumstances. The third thing I really want to talk about, and this is so key in all cancer diagnoses and all stages for your cancer journey, is about building a network of support. And hopefully you'd have a network of support within your organisation. You might have colleagues, hopefully it's your line manager will be supportive and understanding. It might be other managers, it might be other people around the business, but somehow you've got to get that support network around you so that you're not feeling alone and you're not feeling that all the focus is on you to come up with the answers to what does a reasonable adjustment look like? What does your new working pattern look like? What does a phase return look like? Again, you need that supportive community around you. There's lots of supportive communities. I've got a Facebook group called Confidence After Cancer, and that is a very supportive group. It's a lovely group of people. There's no doom and gloom in there, although sometimes, cancer can have a little bit of dark humour. But generally, it's uplifting. We're here to support each other. We're here to acknowledge that none of us are perfect. We all struggle sometimes with day to day, but we're here for each other, and that's the main thing. And I really want to finish this podcast this week. I've just had a message from Mel Robbins, and I follow her on social media. I listen to her podcast. I think she's amazing. And a lot of the stuff she talks about is sometimes you think it's quite basic, but it's not what we do all the time. And she's saying today for her motivational message, she said, commit to being your own best friend. You are truly the only person who will be with you every step of the way. Stop talking to yourself as if you are your worst critic and start talking to yourself as if you are your own best friend. Treat yourself with kindness. Encourage yourself. Take your own advice and be your own best friend. So she says, starting right now, what's one thing that you like about yourself or something that you're proud of? And I think we all struggle with that, with being proud of ourselves or acknowledging things that we're good at. I think as children, I know my grandchildren, ask them what they're good at and they can reel off, 10 things without even thinking about it. And that kind of gets knocked out of us, doesn't it, as we grow up and we're told not to be full of ourselves and we're told not to be selfish. But actually, if you've got any challenges in your life, whether it's cancer or any challenges, this is the time for you to be your own best friend. It's the time for you to be kind to yourself. Again, there's no prizes for killing yourself or getting so stressed out. Think about what I've said. Think about communication. Think about whether you need reasonable adjustments in your workplace, and think about the support network that you've got around you. And I'm hoping that you've got supportive people around you. And if you haven't, or if you're struggling with any of this, I'm here for you. There's be links around this podcast to get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you. If you've got any challenges, any questions, or just have a chat, just let me know how you're going on. Thank you so much for listening. I cannot tell you how much it means to me that people are listening to my podcast, looking at my videos on YouTube, reaching out for help, following my online course. I've poured all my experience and everything that I've learned in the last 16 years about cancer recovery into helping other people. I'm finding purpose in that. I'm finding meaning in that. And, I'm still learning myself. I work with a coach. I'm not saying I'm the finished article, and no way do I pretend to be perfect, because I'm really not, I'm human. But you know what I am? I'm here for you. So please reach out. You're not alone, my darling. You've got me, and you've got nobody else. Please reach out and talk to me. Have a wonderful week. Thank you for listening, and stay safe and stay sane in this crazy world. Bye-bye.